Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Coda Vision TV, Cafe Coda Live, streaming to you from Cafe Coda in Madison, Wisconsin. And I'm going to give you the beatnik snap because that's what we do here, and I feel you. I feel you. I know I can't see you, but I can feel you because those of you who tune in every week know that we are really about doing something that is really necessary and what we consider to be essential. That I like that term now. You know, it seems like we've made this line of demarcation as to what is essential and what isn't essential. Frankly, I believe art, and I hope you agree that art is essential. And those purveyors and those practitioners of art, of all art forms, are essential, especially to us during these trying times. And so we're doing everything that we can to maintain some activity here that is relevant to the cause of keeping music essential and the arts essential and music in the ears of all of you who are streaming in, hoping to emanate some joy to the world in this season. Tonight is really special because, you know, usually we have live groups here. We've elongated our stage to allow for social distancing. But tonight is special because we have the opportunity to speak in Zoom with the great Greg Abate. Greg Abate is internationally renowned alto saxophonist and flutist, and it's always an inspiration to hear him play as well as to discuss this art form with him. I want to thank you all for tuning in, and I want to let you know that GoFundMe.com, Keep Coda Alive, is how we continue to do this. We have been so fortunate to have your support in the past, and as long as you continue your support, we promise to continue to do everything we can do to keep this place alive and keep the music alive. And so without further ado, I'd like to introduce great jazz man, Greg Abate. Hey, brother, how you doing?
Oh, good, Hanah. Thank you for having me on the show tonight. And I can see the stage, and I had the pleasure of being there live last year, and it was great. Who knew this was going to be happening?
Yeah,
Well,
man.
when we were there, we were talking, and so the whole club was so great. It was a pleasure to be there, and now I feel the vibe still from that time. Because it's just that's the way I am. Like it comes in and stays there.
I hear you, man. Well,
Yeah.
we enjoyed you here, and we're always looking forward to you returning in some manifestation. And
It's
tonight
fun.
it's through the stream, and so
Yeah.
please, we can talk in a minute. I'm just eager to hear you play.
Oh, okay. Here.
Bravo, bravo.
Thank you.
That's beautiful, man.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, Greg,
Sorry.
uh, man, I don't know. Well, I actually do know where to start. I would like to talk with you a little bit about this, about your journey, man, because you know you have crossed, I think, a number of idiomatic lines, moving from bebop, you know, into R&B, playing with Ray Charles. I mean, you know, that's, you know, someone might think that that's, you know, that's a relative jump. Frankly, I think that in and of itself is something that's pretty amazing because in your music, I hear you bringing your experience to the moment, and I wonder if you could just talk a little bit about moving from the bebop experience into that Ray Charles experience of the '60s and '70s. If I'm correct, that's when you were with him in the '70s,
In the 70s, 73 and 74.
'73. Yeah.
So I actually moved from that to the bebop thing, right? That way.
Wow.
But like with this COVID situation, being home since March 12th when I first got back from my tour, was just to have a few months more, a few weeks on the road, and I had to come back from the University of Kentucky, flew back home, and you know, I said, wow, this is a drag, you know, being having to do this, and I thought it was just gonna clear up in a week or two. Oh, this will stop, you know, this will be over, and before you know it, you know, months and months went on, and so like I was seeing all my life's stuff in my house, all
Well,
my posters and all my career stuff, like leaving from Berklee, going on through rhythm and blues, playing in Los Angeles with different groups. I did a lot of Motown stuff in hornbeat and playing like Wilson Pickett, James Brown, Sly and the Family Stones, and I was in this horn bands and we played in Vegas 6, 7 nights a week, right?
uh,
So that was part of my education coming from Berklee. And then I was in LA playing there, and then I auditioned for the Ray Charles band and I got that, and that was great. 2 years with Ray, and so that's another school of music. Everything I do is I look at it as a school of music or life, you know. And so moving from that, there I came back home to New England and started to write music, and I was just experimenting with like chords and melodies, and with a funk or Latin grooves, using changes because I'm into harmony. So I put a lot of those roots into my playing and my fusion playing, and
uh-huh.
I did that. I was playing with big bands in New England, and then Dick Johnson, the great clarinetist, leader of the Artie Shaw band, asked me to play tenor, and I love playing tenor, and I was in the school of music of Artie Shaw, and and hanging with him too, and then going on to barnstorming around the world. I was living in Boston area. I had a gig in Montreal in the midst of a big blizzard wintertime thing, and I drove to Montreal because I wanted to do the gig anyway. It took me like another 4 or 5 hours to get there with the snowstorm. But short story, long story short, like when I got there was like 4 people in the club and the band was there and people came in. And then there was this guy at the bar. He said on the intermission, he says, "Hey, Greg, you ever play in New York?" I said, "Not a lot. I was there a couple of times with Ray Charles, but I never really played that much on my own." He says, "Well, we might be able to record you for Candid Records if you like. Would you like to do a record for Candid?" And I said, "Yeah, I would." so a couple of years went by, and I started. So I got live at Birdland in Manhattan with James Williams, Rufus Reid, and Kenny Washington. That was my first international release. And from Kansas, I did all these other recordings, and then that led me to play with a lot of great other saxophone players, like Bobby.
I want to ask you about specifically your time with Phil Woods and that experience.
Yes, sure.
Today, earlier, I was thinking about you, and I pulled up Stablemates, that piece that I believe that you all did together.
Oh, was it Stablemates? Star Eyes or?
I thought it was Stablemate, but
oh, Steeplechase.
Steeplechase. I'm sorry, Steeplechase.
Yeah, you know what? Steeplechase. You got a little parallel thing there though, because Steeplechase is about horse racing, and you said
Stablemates.
Yeah, so that's cool. You got the horses in there somehow.
Yeah. I'm sorry, no, Steeplechase. It's a great piece with you and Phil.
Thank you. Well,
I mean, that's one thing. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just hope that you could talk a little bit about that period, because that seemed to be a pretty prolific period for you then, playing with.
Well, it was a lot playing with Phil, as anybody would if they were ready to like play with him in a way that he would welcome you to his platform, if you will, and that was a confidence thing right there for me to have that, because I'm a kind of a shy dude. I don't really push myself out too much, but I when he said that he'd like to do it, I felt, well, gee, why would he want to do that with me if he didn't like to? He said he thought I swung, and that was great to hear that. So, but we did a few years together, like intimately, with 2 records, and traveling from New York City to Cleveland in my car one night, driving up there and playing 2 nights in the club and driving back to New York, with the great Phil Woods sitting shotgun with me,
Yeah.
It was great.
I bet you that was a magic moment. Yeah.
Sure was. I couldn't believe it, because I always, he was one of my guys, my alto player idols, like, or someone I said, wow, how does he sound like that,
Uh-huh.
Yeah. He was really humble about it, though. He never talked about himself, about how he played or how he got there. Some people would say to him, hey, Phil, I like that lick you played on that thing. That's tune. I heard you in this club. He says, what tune? What club? He says, well, can you tell me what you played? He says, well, if you heard it, you should know what I played.
I guess so. Do you have a favorite tune that you and Phil would share, that you could share with us?
Well, I liked a few, I liked At the End of a Love Affair. We played on that, and also Steeplechase was great.
Oh,
and
yeah.
we did that session End of a Love Affair was. I'll never forget that, because I played the first solo, and I stopped 2 bars into the second solo, because my brain said, Greg, you don't want to play another chorus. You want to let Phil play, because you don't want to take more solos. Maybe we'll just make it short. My mind's telling me this when I'm playing. I stop on the 3rd bar of the second chorus, and I stop, and Phil looks up at me and he says, what the F are you doing, man? That was out loud, he used the words, man.
All right.
All right.
How about another tune?
Oh, yeah.
How about that tune? Yeah.
Yeah, let's
Man.
Yeah, man.
All right, all right, all right. That's beautiful. Listen, I have a question that I'd like to pose to you, and let me preface it by telling you just a little antidote. I was practicing with this musician, he's a drummer, younger musician, and I and I usually practice in the morning. Between 8 and 11, I try to get it in. And I invited him to come over. And, I thanked him for coming over. And he said to me, I'm just so impressed that a musician of your age is still practicing. Okay?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's
So,
weird.
well, you know, I don't know who else. I don't know. I mean, maybe people think about, you know, um, our evolution in a certain kind of way that might not require that we practice. But could you talk a little bit about? Let me just ask you a facetious question, man. Do you practice?
Yes, I do. But
Thank
I don't practice religiously, but I practice when I play gigs, when I'm at home writing or playing my horns and just working out certain things. And I realized when I play gigs that, we all know our deficiencies and, we know them inside if we're true to ourselves. So I know, like I was talking to you earlier about my mixing, my new recording, that I was always searching to find something because I felt like I put more time into it. And
Yeah.
you said, well, it's better to go that way than the other way. So with practicing, I think it's good that you practice as much as you can, but if you practice a little bit, to just do it so it benefits you and not just do it fast and not really absorb what you're doing. And the other thing is that I do a lot of practicing in my head too when I'm driving. I'll try to work out things that I think I want to play sometime in my exercise, and I try to create a thing I want to practice. You
Hmm.
know, it's hard. I'm not really a big shedder though, and cop in doing that and playing like 8 hours a day, but I do play a lot.
Hmm.
Then being on the road, sometimes playing like 23 nights in a row with
Hmm.
that with a quartet and being on every night.
Hmm.
That's really helped me out a lot in the last 15 years to play a lot. Yes.
Hmm.
The
Yeah.
best practice is playing live.
Best practice is playing live, and yeah, I can relate to the whole thing that is contrary to multi hours of practicing. As a matter of fact, there's a book out. I'm just embarrassed that I can't remember the author because he's quite a soprano saxophone player out of New
Oh,
York.
oh, David Lehman.
No, not Lehman, but I want to talk to you a little bit about Lehman too, because I read an essay on Lehman just recently that I'd like to discuss with you. But this brother
Oh,
has a book out called Life Lessons from the Horn. Uh,
yeah.
and, he, and,
Okay.
and in that book, he talks about micro shedding. Huh?
Oh,
And
well,
yeah,
that
yeah,
sounds like that's like physics, man.
yeah. And so, that's
Wow.
something that I've kind of moved toward. And I just wonder what you thought about that.
Oh, microshedding? You mean?
Micro shedding, yeah.
Well, I never use that term, but I think what
You know what
that
I'm
means,
talking about, though, right? It's kind
short
of
burst, short burst things
yeah,
like.
these isolated periods of practicing that isolate on maybe one particular thing or one particular
Yeah,
piece. You
that
know,
that works out a lot, and I think everything together, all these different ways you practice comes into a whole. But it's like a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a lot of this, and then another day or two you do another thing, learn a tune, like write a solo on the tune, listen to more songs, or learn more standards. I think the standards have a good base for like harmony, for tunes that you have, because the chords are very important. It's not like it's having, a modal chord is great, but I mean
yeah.
modal is great, but play on changes. It's really a challenging thing. Well, I have some students at the college that I teach, and they take jazz classes, but then they have a band that they're playing all different types of music.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I can look at that like myself going to Berklee and learning about jazz and bebop, which I had no idea. I didn't get a grasp on that till way after I was with Ray Charles band, because I wasn't one of those fast absorbers of this.
Mm-hmm.
I've had some, there's some friends of mine like Richie Cole, for example, great player. Rest in peace, Richie.
Yeah,
He
Ricky.
was at Berklee at the same time I was, and he was
Yeah.
killing it then. He was really playing some stuff. And he just
Mhm.
his brain, he just had that happening.
Yeah, he's
So
amazing. He was an amazing player, and we had him here, and it was
yeah,
a great moment. Just moving, segueing into this conversation uh, regarding David Liebman, you had mentioned. He's just such a great player, and I had been doing some investigations on some webinars that he is now producing with a host of other musicians, and I got a chance to listen in on one of his conversations where he talked about the distinction that he thought that he had between himself and other musicians who were schooled in a sense. He prides himself on being immediately or foremost self-taught, and
hmm
and he was talking about how, and it's something I can relate to too because I didn't study music at the university, but he was talking about how being self-taught had given him a challenge, of course, but it had also uh, given him a means of escaping what he would consider the cookie cutter syndrome that emits, cats, who are all playing the same. You dig?
yeah, I can see that. I can
Right.
understand that. Yeah, and
Right.
I
Now,
could sort of
one
get
thing
that.
about you and Richie Cole, I don't know, you both cats went to Berkeley, but you cats seem to escape that cookie cutter syndrome. And it's just curious to me, not to say that, there are a lot of great musicians coming out of Berkeley, but I'm just curious as to how you all developed a sense of uniqueness, still, and still, adhering to the rigors of that college curriculum and discipline.
I think it's not. I'm basically a nonconformist. That's for me. I feel like I like to do what I like to do, and sometimes when I was younger, I couldn't do it because I wasn't ready to do it and I wasn't accepted. But now I find myself being a nonconformist that I really am sort of self-taught too, and
Yeah.
also I had the Berklee thing together, so I used together, and also interacting with other musicians like better and greater than me, like, and they taught me stuff about how to be an individual and like just to chill out, and to just look at yourself as a unique individual, and like whatever you do is valid if you
Mhm.
do it sincerely. And I think that brings it to that way where you're not looking to be a clone of something else. You want to be have your own voice. And
Yeah.
some people say to me, like during their growth, they quit playing because they said that they couldn't sound like John Coltrane, or they couldn't sound like Dexter or Bird or Sonny Stitt. And they wanted to sound just like that, or else they felt they weren't going to be good enough. And
Right.
I've talked to some people like that, and they said, well, you want to emulate those cats, but you can't beat anybody else but yourself.
Yeah. You got to play like yourself.
It's an illness that someone has, that they think they have to be like someone else. And if you do that, you're never going to be yourself, right? So
Right.
I think Richie was like that, and I think I'm sort of like that too. I've been told that I sound like me, and people know I don't sound like anybody else, although they hear things in my playing that they can say, oh, you must have listened to
Right.
some Dave Brubeck and Paul Desmond, my early years.
Well, yeah. I can hear your influences, but you definitely have your own sound, brother.
Thank you.
And how about it? Let's hear another one.
All right. So should I do something on the flute a little bit?
That would be wonderful. And yeah, I want to hear you eventually on soprano, which is my favorite.
Would you say that soprano?
I would love to hear you on soprano, which is
Okay,
my favorite as well. But if you want to play flute now, go right ahead.
I got it. Ah.
Beautiful. Bravo. Bravo. Beautiful sound, Greg. Listen, as I said before, I and others can probably recognize your influence, especially on alto. But I'm curious, there seem to be so fewer artists to actually hear on soprano. I was talking to my son this afternoon about Sidney Bechet and about his influence brought in from Paris by way of New Orleans on the soprano saxophone. And I'd just like to know, who are you liking and who are you inspired by on soprano saxophone, which in fact is my favorite.
Well, I like the straight ahead playing. I like the modal playing. I like Ranford Marsalis. I like his soprano playing,
Yes.
and I like Wayne Shorter. And
Yeah.
the classic train on soprano, John Coltrane. That sound, it's like it grabs you. But I thought that he was marvelous, of course, right? And see, it was the Canadian gentleman that played soprano. I can't remember.
Jan
Name.
Jan Gabrick? No.
Yes, not
Jan
him. No, there's jazz, more of a jazz um, player. I can't think of his name for some
I think you're
reason.
talking about Jan Gabrick. Jan Gabrick, is that his name? Maybe.
That's not the one. Not the player I'm thinking of.
Okay.
So I'm
Canadian.
thinking about soprano.
Oh, I know.
Dave Beaton.
I know who you're talking about. Well, there's Liebman,
Yeah.
um, Gary Neewood.
Gary Nywood, yeah, he's
Gary
great.
Neewood, right?
Yeah. And there's
Bad
Jerry
boy.
Nywood
Yeah,
too, right?
yeah. Gary Neewood. He
Yeah,
played
like
with Paul Winter.
who?
Did he play with Paul Winter? Gary Neewood? No, he played with Chuck Mangione.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Chuck
Son
Mangione.
plays great too. Jerry, I play with his son, Jerry.
Yeah.
He lives up in the water Delaware Water Gap up that
Uh
way.
huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Phil Witz played great soprano, but you didn't hear much of it. But
I never heard him play. I've never heard him play soprano.
yeah, really good, man, really fluid.
Uh huh.
Yeah, he's on that record. It's like live, the the Showboat record. It's a live one, back in the late '80s.
Uh huh.
Yeah, or early '90s. Yeah.
It's almost natural, in this conversation that you are offering me these segues in the
Oh,
conversation because I want to touch on a couple of other things. You have some great engineers here, and we were having a conversation about. Well, most of the time I'm listening when they're talking about recording technology and
yes.
um, and what is the contemporary mode of presentation of this music, okay? And I'm so old school. I don't even know the proper initials. I think it's EDEV, E something, as opposed to CDs, which uh,
Yeah.
which to the younger mind is really kind of an I guess it's kind of an antiquated kind of mode.
Really.
But
Yeah.
well, yeah, I mean, this is kind of like the feedback that I get, and as
Well,
I said, I'm always learning. What do you think about that, and how technology is broadening these
well,
avenues
uh,
for production?
I like the analog sound, and also with the analog to the CD. You know, with the tube mixing and like the analog mixing. But I mean, I know that the CD and the compact disc era is like kind of like dwindling away. A lot of people don't have CD players anymore, and it's like mostly on streaming and all that,
Mhm.
right? And like, I don't feel good about that because the musicians don't get in a lot. You know, I mean, they get pennies for like stuff that's streaming. You know, and I'm wondering who's getting all the lion's share of the money. Or like, I write a lot of music, it's out there, but I get like really hardly anything from it. So, but CDs, when I sell CDs and they're sold, then the artist like myself will get more of the money for that, for the originals or whatever you're doing for sales of it.
Mhm.
So I don't really like the new system. I think it, and also, but vinyl's coming back too, right?
Yeah, vinyl's coming back big. And
Yeah.
that was going to be my next question. Have you considered a vinyl project in the
Yes,
future?
I have, but the record company I have has said they consider it, but you can only get like maybe, is it 20 minutes aside on a vinyl? 40 minutes, right?
40 minutes
Yeah,
aside.
you like design that to be that way, and I think it would be nice to do one. The only one I've ever done is when I had my fusion band 1980 81. I recorded one vinyl. That's it.
Hmm.
It was I should send you one. And
Well,
in the
I
time,
would I would love to have one. I've never had the occasion, the opportunity to record on vinyl, and I just think it would be just a gas to do it.
well, I'll send you one, of course. But I recorded at a studio in Rhode Island, and the engineer Phil Green is a great, but he was liked a lot of reverb, and I didn't like a lot of reverb, so I had that going, and I think that it sounds, even though it's like on a vinyl analog, it sounds like it might be a little bit bright. And my playing is so unevolved. It's like just really kind of like short solos, and the tunes, you know, were evolving, you know, and I look at that as part of my life. But I was into like we all are, like dedicating things, and I dedicated it to the name of my group was Channel One, so I was into that channel of one particular energy of positive energy and life and peace and love for the planet. And so I dedicated that to the planet and all the people in it. So that's my concept there. So when you see it, it's called Without Boundaries. But I was freaked out because the designer of the album did it, and she's got all the universe on the cover of the stars and stuff, and then they had a border line around it about an inch, about 3/4 of an inch. And I said, why would you put that on there? The title of the record is Without Boundaries. And you put a boundary around my cover. And she says, oh, I thought it looked good.
Well, listen, I want to just step back just a minute and talk about this whole pandemic challenge. And I believe, maybe it's arguable that you can never really separate a music from its time. And I'm just curious as to how this whole time is inspiring you and your work.
Well, I'll tell you, if I can answer now, was that the question? Well,
Yeah.
it's like being in a different world. I actually mean that. I get up and I go down. I was going down to do a lot of work on the recording. I had the fortunate experience of doing with the great Kenny Barron and his trio. We recorded in September of this year, and I was writing. I was doing arrangements for all of his tunes, and I was taking liberties of it. And I'd call him and say, "I'd like to do this. You mind?" He said, "No, do what you want. It's your record. It's okay." So then we were going to record in May, and because of the COVID,
Mhm.
they postponed it, and I had all the charts all arranged, 14 of them. They were all ready to go. And so from May, we were looking to get another date. And so that took up my time because I started to redo every one of them because I like I'm sleeping, dreaming about the tune. And I said, oh, I'm going to change that measure there. And then that would change the whole thing. I'd have to change. So I redid the 14 charts. So then we recorded and I'm mixing. But it's been hard for me not to play. I've been managing not to get too deeply depressed, like, because I try to pull myself out of it because I really feel it's a real loss in my life to not be able to work. It's like a death almost. It feels pretty bad.
Yeah, I can relate to that, man. But
Not as bad as that, but it does hurt.
it's not that bad, but I can relate. It's pretty bad. Uh,
Yeah.
uh, what about compositions? Have you tried to write during this period?
Oh, I'm writing a lot. I've written a bunch of etudes, man. I'll send you some of those. I've
Yeah.
been writing. I've been doing one a day, two a day, and then I've written a whole bunch of new original tunes that I played on October 24th. And I wrote them, and they were just like coming out. You know, I was just really prolific, and it's like something was moving my hand. It was like just and I'm playing the chords, and ideas are coming. So I'm really excited about that. That'll be probably my next recording that I do. I'll do all new originals.
Uh-huh.
They're all sitting down there ready to go.
Is there anything on flute?
That's the upside of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything on flute that is current and might be ready to show us?
Oh, on flute?
Yes.
Um, yeah, I have to get the chart though.
That's okay.
Let me,
We got a little
okay,
time.
let me grab it.
All right.
Hold on.
We got 8 minutes. I got quarter two.
Okay, now I gotta figure out how I'm going to read this thing.
Okay.
Want me to hold it?
Nah. I got one called the Gemini. I like that one.
Do that.
Gemini. Yeah, I'll play that.
Listen, just do any one you want. You know, it's just so exciting. Listen, Greg, it's so exciting to hear something that's coming, you know, right off the stand. Right.
Let me get it for you.
Yeah.
All right.
Is that him dropping out?
So,
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Oh.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Listen, you know, I have to ask this question because you sound delightful on flute. Who do you like on flute, and who's your influence? I can tell you, I thought I heard a Moody influence.
You're absolutely. That's really nice, man. Thank you. And I like that as a compliment and an inspirational thought to have that I'm doing something pretty right.
Yeah, man, you sound great. Listen, I have a contemporary whom I respect. I've had an opportunity to record with her and travel with her on the road a little bit. Her name is Nicole Mitchell. Are you familiar with Nicole Mitchell?
No, I'm not. Sorry to say.
Great flutist, and yeah, I think you might enjoy listening to her. She's coming from more of a modal direction, but her sound is absolutely fantastic.
Well, that'd be nice to hear something. You know, the other person I liked was Joe Farrell on flute.
Oh, Joe Farrell, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Joe Farrell. He did a thing called Outback that was a beautiful. It's just a very, very simple motif, but very.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I liked him a lot. I used to listen to the Friends album with Chick Corea and him. I like that one.
Yeah, I loved him with Chick. Yeah.
Nicole Mitchell.
Nicole Mitchell. Yeah, she's a great flutist. She's coming up, and I think she's teaching out west now.
All right. I'll look online. I'll remember that name. I'll look at tonight when we finish. I'll just try it so fresh in my mind.
Yeah.
But I like Hubert Laws too, and I liked, of course, his sound was great. And Bud Shank I like Bud Shank's playing flute.
Yeah. Yusef Lateef.
Huh?
Yusef Lateef.
Yeah, he's different, man. I like that. And Rassan played great flute too. So,
yeah. Yeah. Rassan was really different. Yeah.
What am I thinking about? The tenor player I played with. Who you remember that the tenor player, Kerry? We played with him. Came from New York. We played a chance.
Played with who?
Was this flute player, tenor player. You remember he played? He lives in Manhattan. He's married to Toshiko.
No.
Oh, you know, you're talking about. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Tabakin.
Yes, that's it.
Flute Tabakin.
I like his flute playing too.
Yeah, he's a great flutist as well.
I was just checking it out, man. I was looking. F sharp comes out really nice when you play the C sharp key with it.
Uh,
Did you do? You know that one? I just learned that myself.
no, but I've been adapting flute fingering to saxophone, actually using the third finger to play F sharp.
Really? Why?
Yeah, try it out.
It's not as clear to me though.
Some people swear by it, some people swear on it. What can I tell you? But yeah, but it works well on soprano saxophone. That third
Huh?
finger, that third
Oh,
finger
yeah.
F sharp.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
If you're playing fast, you don't really notice the difference in the tone.
Oh yeah. Yes. Oh yes. I have to remind you to stand on your mark when you're.
Oh my God.
Yeah. For those of you who are just tuning in, we are having a great interview moment with the great Greg Abate. And he's in Rhode Island, right, Greg?
Yeah, Coventry, Rhode Island, right near
Yeah.
Providence, Rhode Island. Yeah.
And we're here in Madison, Wisconsin,
Yeah.
just enjoying and celebrating the wonders of modern technology through our video stream.
Yes.
And I'd like to remind you all that the way we do this is from your contributions. GoFundMe, keep Coda alive. We've been closed since March 7th, and this is what we are doing as part of our initiative to stay open and to keep the music alive and do our part to keep as many musicians active as possible. And we believe that if we can continue to do this, that it's the right thing, and when you do the right thing always happens. And so, Greg, it's just such a pleasure to have you here again.
Oh, yeah, it's my pleasure too. I appreciate you having me on again. The last time we did it, I was really kind of sick with bronchitis and everything, and I was trying to get through blowing, and I said, man, I hope this is not going to be the way I'll be. As I was like, but I felt, hey, I'm back, I'm a lot better, so.
Okay, you're looking good now. And how, other than isolating yourself, how are you taking care of yourself? Any tips for us health-wise in terms of maybe to us players?
Yeah, if you go by the sea, we have the ocean here, and Kerry and I, we go to the ocean on weekends. I'm usually not gigging anymore, like regular. So we'll go and sit at the ocean, and listen to the waves. That's what I like to do, and to walk, into these wildlife refuges and look at the animals and the birds and everything just coming around. And that's sort of like really. I like to make stone towers and do stuff on the beach. It sort of like relaxes me. And writing music is good too, of course. But I've been mixing my new album coming out next year with Kenny Barron. I have that coming out, so that's taken up a lot of my time, and it sort of kept me going, thinking like, well, I'm doing something, I'm really working at something and I'm just having a little delay getting back out there playing,
Yeah, it must be a real great experience playing with Kenny Barron, man. He's just an iconic.
Really is, yeah.
Yeah, there are a number of pieces that he's done, but I wonder if you're familiar with this piece. The reason that I mention it is because you have your flute there, and this piece was introduced to me by Yusef Lateef, and is entitled "A Flower" by Kenny Barron. Do you know that piece?
Is it a flower? Are you sure it's not water lily?
No, it's a flower. I've been wrong once this evening. I think I'm right now, though.
It's not forest flower.
No, it's not forest flower.
No, I don't know the flower. I don't know any.
Okay.
I've got like 16 of his tunes I've been working on. Recorded 14 and a flower was not one of them. Water lily was the closest one I could think to. That was
Yeah,
close.
well, that's close, but no, that's not it. But yeah, I could hum it for you, but
Okay.
who wants to hear me hum? You know, want me to hum it for you?
Yeah.
La 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 la. Mm-mm. Oh, it would take too long for me to get my axe out, but
Okay.
anyway,
Yeah.
I don't want to. I don't want to. This is. Yeah. Let's use this precious time because we only have a few more minutes. I want to thank you again
Oh,
for just gracing us with your presence.
well, gee, thank
Well,
you. I miss you guys over there, and I want to thank
you
Mike.
too, man. Miss
I,
you too. You got one more for us, please?
yeah, what would you like?
I don't know. How about one more alto piece?
Okay,
Okay.
yeah, that's really good. You guys stay good out there, man.
Yeah.
Play autumn leaves.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, sir.
All right.
Yeah, Greg, man.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sound great. Listen, we've covered a lot of territory in this hour. I just so appreciate you uh, sharing your knowledge and your insight and your opinions about what's happening in this world and with this music.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's a tough time now, but like hopefully we can get through it soon.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll get through it. And listen, when we get through it, I want you to know that we're going to love having you back here in Madison, man. You got a lot
Oh,
of fans here. You know that? You got big fans.
oh, that's great. You guys are my fans too. I'll tell you.
Great. Well,
I'm
thanks a
your
lot.
fan. I mean, that was a weird one.
Right. We're going to give you the beatnik snap and sign out. Ladies
Okay.
and gentlemen, thank you so much.
you.
Once
Thank
again,
you.
Greg Abate, and we want to remind you, GoFundMe, keep Coda alive. Tomorrow night, we have solo piano Jim Erickson right here live on stage. And once again, how about it for Greg Abate all the way from Rhode Island? My man. All right. Thank you. Thank you, bro.
Thanks a lot, hon.
For us tonight, and
Thanks everybody over there for doing what you did to get me audible and visual. Thank you.
yeah. Well, you know, we got to get you any way we can these days, man. All right, folks, do everything you can
Good evening, everyone. Have a great night.
as it can be for everybody. All right. Out.
Oh, nice.
Ta-da, you did it, Greg.
Did it. How was it?
Bye.
Nice.
I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
God knows why, but.
I know.